The Cedar Palace was resplendent that Saturday night. Sao Paulo's most prestigious event center had been transformed into a true dreamscape for the 25th Hope Foundation charity dinner. Baccarat crystal chandeliers illuminated the main hall, where round tables covered with white linen tablecloths held arrangements of white and gold orchids. Sao Paulo's elite paraded in their formal attire. Men in Italian tuxedos chatted near the crystal bar, while women displayed designer dresses and dazzling jewels.
The soft sound of a string quartet echoed through the room, mingling with the clinking of Veuve Clicquot champagne flutes.
Dona Lourdes, 73 years old, observed it all from a corner of the hall. Her gray hair was pulled back in a simple bun, and she wore her best dress, a discreet black model she had bought on sale 3 years prior. Her hands, marked by decades of work, held a small synthetic leather bag that already showed signs of wear. She had arrived punctually at 8 o'clock, as indicated on the invitation she'd received by mail. The doorman directed her to the main entrance, but Lourdes felt completely out of place amidst such luxury. Her black leather shoes, comfortable but dull, made a discreet scuffing sound on the Italian marble as she searched for her seat. "Excuse me," she said politely to an elegant couple chatting near table number 12. "Could you tell me where the honor table is?" The woman, a platinum blonde of approximately 45, draped in a red Valentino dress, looked Lourdes up and down with obvious discomfort. Her husband, a corpulent man with gray hair and an immaculate tuxedo, frowned. "Honor table?" the woman repeated with a forced smile.
"Darling, I think you're mistaken."
"The service entrance is on the other side of the building."
Lourdes blinked, confused. "Service entrance."
"No, I have an invitation."
"I'm looking for my Seat." The man chuckled softly. "Look, Elena."
She must be new to the staff and doesn't quite understand how these events work yet.
Elena, the woman in red, adopted a condescending tone. "Listen here, my dear.
I know you staff sometimes get curious to see what it's like inside, but your place is in the kitchen or the service corridors. This hall is only for guests." Lourdes felt her face flush. "But I am a guest. I have the invitation here in my bag." "Oh, of course," Helena laughed, drawing the attention of other nearby couples. "And I'm the Queen of England."
"Darling, don't make a scene. Go back to your workstation before the supervisor sees you here."
A small circle had formed around the situation. Other guests watched with barely disguised curiosity, whispering among themselves. Lourdes felt the weight of all those judging eyes. A tall man with golden glasses approached.
"What is the problem here?"
"Nothing much, Dr. Augusto," Helena explained. "Just a new employee who got lost. We're already directing her back to the service area." Dr. Augusto, a member of the Foundation's board, looked at Lourdes impatiently.
"Maemme, please, don't cause a disturbance."
"This is a very important event, and we can't have disruptions." Lourdes tried to explain again, but her voice came out weaker. "I really do have an invitation."
"I can show you."
"No need to show anything," a young woman with brown hair and a royal blue dress interrupted. "Clearly there's been a misunderstanding. The kitchen is over there," she pointed to a side door. "I'm sure your colleagues are worried about your delay." The murmur around them grew louder. Fragmented phrases reached Lourdes's ears. How did they let her in? Security lapse. What an embarrassing situation.
Lourdes felt tears welling in her eyes.
Decades of similar humiliations flooded her memory like an avalanche. But this time was different. This time, she had every right to be there. "All right," she murmured, lowering her head. "I apologize for the inconvenience." She walked slowly to a more secluded corner of the hall, away from curious glances. She sat on a chair next to a marble column and waited, silently observing the party unfold. The dinner proceeded with all pomp and circumstance. Grilled shrimp, salmon in champagne sauce, and lamb with fine herbs were served. Conversations revolved around business, international travel, and social projects. French wine flowed freely as guests celebrated their own generosity. At 10:30, the master of ceremonies stepped onto the stage. "Ladies and gentlemen, the most important moment of our evening has arrived. We are going to honor a very special person, someone who has dedicated her entire life to serving the needy children of our city." The hall fell into respectful silence. Helena adjusted in her chair, wondering if she would be called to the stage for her financial contributions. Our honoree began working as a cleaner in public hospitals over 50 years ago. But she never contented herself with just cleaning the corridors. She started talking to the hospitalized children, brought them toys from her own salary, told them stories to calm them during treatments. Dr. Augusto frowned, trying to remember who it could be. Over time, she realized that many children had nowhere to return after hospital discharge. Families destroyed by poverty, absent parents, broken homes. It was then that she made a decision that would change hundreds of lives. The Master of Ceremonies paused dramatically. In 1987, using her savings from a lifetime of work, she rented a simple house on the outskirts and began taking in these children. She had no government support, no sponsors, no resources. She only had love and determination. Helena began to shift uncomfortably in her chair. Something in that story sounded familiar. Over 36 years, she personally cared for over 800 children. She fed, educated, and loved each one as if they were her own child. Many became doctors, teachers, engineers. All carry with them the lessons of dignity and perseverance they learned from her. The man with golden glasses discreetly looked around, trying to identify the honoree among the guests. The Hope Foundation exists today because a group of businessmen learned about her work and decided to formalize and expand her efforts. Everything we have built in the last 25 years originated from the pioneering work of this extraordinary woman. Applause began to echo through the hall, even though many didn't know for whom they were clapping. Ladies and gentlemen, it is with immense honor that I invite to the stage the unofficial founder of our institution, the woman who taught us that true love manifests through concrete actions, Dona Maria de Lourdes Santos. The silence that fell upon the hall was sepulchral. All heads turned, searching for the honoree. It was then that they saw Lourdes slowly rising from her corner, walking towards the stage with the same silent dignity she had maintained throughout the night. Helena felt her blood run cold. Augusto swallowed hard. The young woman in the blue dress covered her face with her hands. Lourdes carefully ascended the stage steps, her simple shoes now echoing in a reverent silence. The Master of Ceremonies greeted her with a warm embrace and handed her the microphone. "Good evening," she said in a soft but firm voice. "I apologize for not having introduced myself properly when I arrived. Several of you asked me where I worked, and yes, I do work. For 50 years, I've been taking care of children who needed a chance." She paused, her eyes scanning the hall and stopping for an instant on the group that had humiliated her. "When I was young, I also worked as a cleaner, a waitress, a cook. I learned that there is no undignified work, only people who failed to recognize the dignity in every human being."
The silence was deafening.
Several people lowered their heads, embarrassed. Today, seeing so many important people gathered for such a noble cause, I am deeply moved. Because I discovered that it doesn't matter our origin, our clothes, or our bank account. What matters is what we do with the opportunities life gives us to help others. She smiled for the first time that night.
Thank you for transforming my small dream into this beautiful reality.
And thank you for reminding me, even without knowing it, why I started this work, so that no child ever feels diminished for not being born with a silver spoon. Applause erupted throughout the hall. A standing ovation that lasted 5 whole minutes, with all guests on their feet. Helena cried discreetly. Augusto clapped hard, his eyes welling up. The young woman in blue couldn't stop clapping. When Lourdes descended from the stage, dozens of people approached to greet her, apologize, and hear her stories. Helena was one of the first.
Dona Lourdes,
I don't know how to apologize for what happened earlier. Lourdes gently took the woman's hand. You don't need to apologize, dear. You just need to remember that the next simple person you meet might be carrying stories you can't even imagine. That night would forever be etched in the memory of all present. Not only for the tribute to an extraordinary woman, but for the unforgettable lesson that true nobility is not measured by what we wear or possess, but by what we do for others when no one is watching.